Hey, how's it going tonight? Uh, Stumbled across this video by BBC. Looks as though it's a segment from a TV series. Um, this particular one, the clip on YouTube was called "Can These Identical Twin Doctors Beat Pain Without Pills?" BBC. It was uploaded January 2nd, 2019. That's still fresh. Uh, okay. So right off the bat, these guys are lying. I mean, they're actors, so some people go, well, that's, part of it and it's not really lying, but no, this is lying. First thing they say is they cannot find a scientist that is willing to perform the kind of pain tests that they require to determine whether pain can be managed without pills or not. No, don't get me wrong. It's quite admirable uh, for doctors to think, well, painkillers, specifically opioids, are bad for people, and they are. They lead to addiction and a bunch of other problems. I don't know nothing about that, but I know plenty about chronic pain, acute pain. There's all different types of pains, and mine were deliberately brought upon me by psychiatrists. So this horse shit that they just spewed out right at the beginning, they couldn't find a scientist willing to um, put them through the pain tests that they required is complete bullshit right off the bat. So anyway, they go into a tattoo parlor to have tattoos without ink done on their feet. And the feet, they are a sensitive region for like pricky things. So that is true. That is a very painful thing. And they actually do the sole of their foot as well, and that would be extremely painful. There's a few areas in the body that are obviously really painful, but the feet, I don't know this from experience, are one of those regions that it really fucking hurts. Um, anyway, they're actors, right? So they go in there. One of them has the mentality of mind over matter, uh, keep calm, and just go through it and try to be as relaxed as possible. And the other geezer with the beard feels as though you gotta shout out your problems and get really angry. And I don't know what his philosophy on that, whether that distracts him from the immediate pain or whatever. They don't really go into too much detail in this 4 minute long video. Um, anyway, so they're having it done. One thing you can clearly notice is that you never see the actual tattooing part being done on their foot and the rest of their body at the same time. So you don't see the facial reaction as well as when the sole of the foot was being tattooed or whatever. And there were other things that were clear giveaways. Um, there are physical mannerisms that people go through when they're in pain. It doesn't matter who you are, you go through them. Usually it's sweating, uh, un, uncontrollable movement of some kind, whether it be in the face or some other part of the body that has nothing to do with the spot that's being in pain. Redness, real redness, tearing of the eyes, that's perfectly normal. Um, or, going very pale, that's also very normal. There's a lot of physical things that can go on when you're in pain of that sort. And I would think getting a tattoo on the sole of your foot would hurt a whole lot. Neither of them were exhibiting any of those symptoms. None of them. They both, no sweat. The one who was shouting, that's about as red in the face as you get when you start shouting anyway. So, bullshit to that. They're lying. And also, a thing to consider about pain is knowing what the pain is. Like when I was talking about my sore throat and how it's hurt for almost 7 years now, and my doctor has basically told me to suck it up and keep going, in which I have done, but fuck you to them. Um, the thing is, knowing what the pain is a big part, a huge part of overcoming it. And knowing that it's pricks being done on your foot as opposed to, possibly an organ being in pain, or in my case, my neck, and not knowing why that is exactly or what's causing it, that's a whole other stress level that they're not dealing with. So if they want a pat on the back, they can get a fuck you to the face. Both of them are assholes, and I don't trust either one of them to have actually gone through the test. There isn't a whole lot of evidence to suggest that they did. The magic of television. And part of pain is chronic pain, not simply the immediate pain, but chronic pain, which means pain that continues. I would assume a tattoo on the sole of the foot would hurt for some time, but there are factors to it. Are you going to be in a wheelchair afterwards? Do you have the luxury of being in a wheelchair, or do you have to walk around still in Dr. Scholl's or something like that? Like that wouldn't help much at all. Um, it really it does depend, and also there's the very real possibility that after the camera's done rolling, they go do whatever they want. They only have their word on the television that they're being honest about the tests that they were doing, and they've clearly lied about a few things already. So their word out the fucking window with it. And this is significant for me because the psychiatrist deliberately put me in pain, told me it was something else, put the frighteners into me because, I thought it could have been esophageal cancer at some points during the 7 years. I never really thought that, but, you couldn't have a pain in the neck like I had and not think things like that of that nature. It was impossible, especially with the way I was talked to. There's no information or anything. And these guys knew full well what they were doing, probably even had it down to a scientific level of how long their feet would hurt. Um, and, it's a very manipulative little clip. And, it is for a good reason. Doctors used to hand out opioids a lot more freely, and they shouldn't do that because they're simply bad for people, and it, usually destroys their lives. And it's not like people get off scot-free with that stuff anyway. It comes with its own host of bullshit. It's better to not take any of that junk at all. That I agree with, but I don't like the method that they implore on, exercising that. And this little video, again, it was called "Can These Identical Twin Doctors Beat Pain Without Pills?" BBC. It's worth the 4 minutes to watch it. I simply think it's bogus, though. I think they're lying. I know they're lying. And when you know you're dealing with a liar, then you know you really can get to the point where you don't trust anything they've got to say quite easily, especially if you catch them lying on more than one thing. And you don't want to be around people like that. People like that are toxic. They're simply bad news, and it doesn't matter what their chain of rationale is for lying. If they are lying to you, they will lie to you about things that are really important, and it may be something detrimental to you. And if it is, you don't need people like that in your life. You don't need them. They can get lost. I mean, you have to accept in life that some people are going to lie every now and then. I myself try not to, but there are people, you're going to run into people that lie. It's as simple as that. You can't escape that. But if they're chronic liars, habitual liars, they simply, that's their way of life is to lie through everything, then you don't need them around. They're not intelligent, they got nothing going for them, and they're scum. And these actors, I don't even think they're doctors. I highly doubt it. I think they're just two chumps that wanted to go on TV, and this was their shtick. I mean, as I said, this is probably part of a TV series of some sorts where, whatever. Um, and I don't like it when people try to disguise something really nasty with an honorable deed. I consider that being sanctimonious and, disguising what it is that they're really up to. And there's no honor in that. There's no respect in that, and there's nothing going for that. They're simply assholes. That's all they are. That's why I don't like Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau is a cocksucker. And people are entitled to their opinion, but I don't like sanctimonious attitude. I really don't like it. Anyway, so I recommend you watch it. I will put a link in the description, and perhaps you can share your thoughts on my video if you wish, or on theirs. I really don't give a damn. Anyway, little food for thought. Anyway, good night.